So in this video, we're going to be building out the animations to make this template a bit more lively, and we're going to do some modifications as well. Like for example, one modification is I don't think we need this mode button. So what we're going to go and do is we're just going to hide it for now, just in case we want to actually go ahead and build the interaction for this later. Obviously, currently you can easily just toggle the light and dark mode directly just by going here or just by using the system settings. But for now, let's just start adding the animation. So you can add the animation by going to effects, and then you can have some of the animations that are already here, or you can build any other animations like scroll speed, scroll transform, or scroll animations. But for now, what we want to do is, especially since these things are actually just at the top of the page and our users are going to see them as soon as they enter it, we're just going to add some basic appear animations. Now I want to add an animation where this particular header slides in from the top. As you can see, this looks like this, but it's a bit too fast in my opinion. I probably want this animation to be, let's say, for 0.5 seconds. So let's just make that 0.5. So something like this. I think this looks good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here as well. So I am going to, select here. I'm going to go to the paste option and then I'm going to say paste effects. Now we have the same animation here, but obviously we don't want it to appear exactly similarly. We probably want a delay, and we can even decide like if we want any other types of animations here. Should this just slide in, or if it's not slide in, should this, let's say, should there be some sort of like scaling going on? So if we just do that, now as you can see, we have something like this. So the header comes in and then we have this coming in from the back and just something like that. Yeah, I think that's fine as well. Now let's go to these devices as well. This device should obviously come in from the bottom up. So we can just copy again. We already have the style copied. We're going to go here. We're going to paste it. So paste effect. And the only difference here is we don't want it to come from the top down. We actually want it to come from the bottom up. So now if we just do that, you have something like this. And I don't want to bake delays into this animation, because as soon as the person lands on the screen, I just want them to have a look at something. Because the more you add a lot of delays, the more the page speed for the particular thing or the page actually gets affected. So I think that's fine. We're going to add the same thing here, but this can now be based on a delay. So we're going to select this. I'm going to go and I'm going to paste my styles here, or paste the effect here. And then I'm going to say this needs to be after a particular delay. So in order to add the delay, I'm just going to go here and I'm going to say this is going to be after a 0.5 second delay. And similarly, we can bake the same thing on the left. So we're just going to copy the style, copy this effect, and we're going to go here and we're going to paste effect. So now let's just have a look at how all of this looks. So I think it looks good. So we have something like this. I think that's fine. And these circles and the icons behind them, I feel like all of those can be grouped into a single thing and they can just fade in. So where are the circles? I think they're here. So we're just going to place all of the icons and everything here. And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to say these are just going to fade in. So we're going to go to our effects quite simply. We're going to say these are going to appear and they're going to scale in, I guess. Scaling in, let's just have a look at it and see how that looks. Oh man, that's a lot of stuff going on. I'm not sure if I'm like a complete fan of it, especially since there's no delay. It also is a bit too springy in my opinion. So I think this can be 0.5. The delay can probably be 1 second. And now let's see. I don't really like how it's scaling in. That's not something that I actually want to go with. So I'm going to change that. I'm going to say the scale is going to remain the same. Only the opacity is going to change. So now let's see. Yeah, maybe I think that's fine for now. Okay, I think let's just go with that. And then at the back, I think the back is already fine. I don't think we need to animate like those things at the back. So I think that's done. Now coming to this particular section, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to have it slide in from the top, from the bottom down. So we're going to copy the style. We're going to come here and we're going to say, we're going to just paste the effect here. So now, as you can see, now obviously we don't want this effect here, because if we have this effect here, this appear effect, then it's going to appear automatically. So that's not what we want. We actually want a scroll animation. So the scroll animation is going to be when you actually get to this layer, I want it to come in. And as soon as you touch the layer, or maybe even like from the middle, this basically says when you're on the middle of this layer, then this should appear. So maybe that's fine. And should it scale in, or should it, let's say, come in from the bottom? So I'm going to say slide in bottom, and let's see how that looks. So something like this. It's a bit too fast in my opinion, but maybe, well, it's not going to work. I think it's a bit too fast. So what we're going to do here is we're going to change this spring to ease, and we're going to say 0.5, similar to what we've done before. And let's play it again. So as you can see now, I think this looks good. I also think that maybe we can animate all of these individually as well. That's going to be a bit of work, but we can do it. So in order to do that, we can just say copy and we can paste it. Actually, we can select all of them. Let's just select all of them and say paste effect, and let's see how that looks. So it looks something like this. Now, if we want obviously them to, if we want them to appear one by one, we can obviously just go ahead and tweak the animation a bit. We can just say that there's going to be a delay in each of them. So the delay here is going to be, let's say 0.25. Actually, there's not going to be a delay here. The first one can appear, or maybe there can be a 0.25 seconds. So we're going to basically bake a 0.25 second delay in everything. So this is going to be 0.5. This one can be 0.75. Now it's really important not to close these things and keep them open, so you can keep on editing them. This can be 1 second. This can be 1.25, and this can be 1.5. Okay, now let's have a look at that. So we have something like this. And if you need to make them a bit faster, we can, but for now, let's just stick with this. Okay, so now here we have a pretty similar section like this one. So we're just going to go ahead and copy this. And we're going to come here and, we're going to come here and we're going to say paste style. So you can also paste the styles by going here and selecting the edit and saying paste and then paste effects. Unfortunately, I haven't found a way to actually bake this shortcut directly or change this shortcut directly within Figma. There's no shortcut for it right now. Now, actually, let's just see. Unfortunately, I applied the style here, whereas I wanted to apply it here. So we're going to go here and we can just say paste effect. And let's see how this looks. Okay, so this looks good. Now our service pack, I think this, we're going to keep this, but here what we want to do is we want to animate these left and right based on our scroll direction. So I think this is it just me, or is it does this seem like it's not centered? It actually is centered, but it still looks like it's not. So never mind that. So we're just going to say this is going to be our top row. This one is going to be the bottom row. Apologies, I just went to eat, and now we're going to come back to the work where we were converting or adding the animation for this particular section. So we're going to add a scroll animation that's going to say when this particular layer is in view, I want you to do something, right? It can also be on appear as well. Sorry, it's not scroll animation, apologies. It's like scroll transform. So we're adding a scroll transform that should trigger on scroll, and this basically should move left and right based on the scroll position. We're going to say it's going to go from its current position to what position? The X is going to be, let's say, somewhere like -300 maybe, or -500. Yeah, maybe that's fine. So let's just see what it looks like. So if we just play it, and if we're scrolling down, we have something like this going on. So obviously one mistake that I've done here is I have changed the opacity as well. So we don't want the opacity to change or the scale to change. That, sorry, I don't even know why I made that 0. That should be 1 and 1. So now if we have a look at it, it's something like this. So as you're scrolling, this is basically moving left and right, which is pretty nice. We're going to copy this thing again. We're going to basically select the previous element. We're going to say paste, and it's going to paste the effect here. And this now is, instead of -500, it's just going to be 500. So now if we play this, it's something like this. One section is going on the left, one section is going on the right, and that's exactly what we want. Now coming to our cards, if we also wanted to actually animate this as well, we could have done that. Actually, we can just go ahead and do that right now. So what we can do here is, well, actually, never mind. Since both of these things are available, both of these rows are available, I don't want to add like another animation here. I'm going to add the animation here though. So what we're going to say is we're going to say something similar to this. So we want the same animation that's here, and we want to copy it obviously, and we want to go here and we want to paste it. So paste effects. Similarly here, we can paste the effect here as well. So paste effect. Now one thing that's obviously, and if we just play it and have a look at it, so we have something like this, and when we go here, we have the cards coming in, we have this coming in. And maybe this doesn't need to come in from the bottom up because we're going to reserve that for the left element. So we're going to say that this is going to be 0. The scale is going to be 1. The opacity, whatever. I think this can be 0.5 or something. So it's going to scale. So now if we have a look at it, it's scaling in. I think that's better. And now we're going to say we're going to have an animation here. This particular section is going to come in from the bottom. This element is going to come in from the top. So paste effect. And let's just tweak it a bit. So this is going to come in from the top. So we're going to say this is going to be not 150. This is going to be minus 150. And now if we have a look at it, this animation, this is something like this, where we have, and we don't want it to appear. Unfortunately, we don't want it to appear when, for example, this particular layer is in view or this layer is in view. We actually want to do it when the section is in view. So we need to give this particular section a name as well. We can do that by going here to the scroll section, and we can say this is going to be our card minus section. And we're going to say when the viewport actually reaches the top of the section, then this animation is going to occur, and similarly here as well. So we're going to say section, and we're going to copy this whole animation. We're going to copy this and we're going to add it to this thing as well. So we're going to paste it. So did we copy it or did we make a mistake? So copy, and then let's go to this particular thing and say paste effect. So unfortunately the effect isn't there. It's not copying over. So we're just going to add an effect ourselves. And unfortunately I don't even see the effect. And maybe, okay, the reason why is we basically need to add a frame around it and then paste it. So this is going to be a transparent card, because that's like a graphic and you cannot add it directly on top of that. So now we're going to go to our paste and we're going to paste this effect. And we're going to go here, we're going to say the effect is going to be a scaling effect, and this is going to be 0, and this is going to come from the 0.75. So now let's have a look at it. So we have something like this. I think this looks quite good. Okay, I think we're going to keep it at that. Now coming to this particular thing, this section. For this section, we basically have some sort of a slider here, which are going to have a number of testimonials, I guess. So what we're going to do is we're just going to grab these testimonials, 3 of them, and we're going to move them outside. And we're going to, let's say, duplicate them. So I'm going to say that we have, let's say, 9 testimonials in total. Because we have we just want to demonstrate them. And if someone wants to update them themselves, they can do it. And we're going to add, sorry, I'm not even sure why I'm previewing. We are going to add a carousel here. So we're going to add a carousel, and we're going to first of all make sure that it's filling the container. So we're going to say fill container. Then we're going to start linking these things. So we can link them just by going here. We can say it's going to be linked to this one, and then this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay, so we have 9 items linked here. I'll see if I need to make any changes here. Well, the first change that I actually want to make is I want to maybe increase the padding from the bottom a bit. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to increase the padding a bit from the bottom. I just wasn't sure how that was looking, and maybe the spacing in between these elements need to reduce a bit. So we're going to reduce that. And is it just me, or does this look a bit big? If that's big, maybe this needs to be a bit bigger as well. So let's just make that 16. Welcome back. Obviously it shouldn't be welcome back. We can just say CEO or something. That should be something like this. Okay. So I think that's a bit better. And now let's obviously tweak this particular section. So we have dots here as well. So we need the dots. We don't have arrows in the design, but we can add them if we want. So basically this is what this section looks like. And we have arrows here, so we can basically go have them left and right. But I think we obviously need a few other things as well. So we need some gaps in between the elements. So we're going to say that the gap should be maybe 34 pixels, I guess. Okay, that's done. Now the height should be, should it be auto? Should it be stretch? Should it be like what? So obviously that's something for us to decide. But for now, I'm just going to say it's going to fit the content of the testimonial itself. So that's done. Do we need a padding? I mean, I'm not really 100% sure. I guess we can. Then we are also going to define what the direction is going to be. What we've already defined the children. Should the arrows be there? We can hide them just by going here. If we don't want the arrows, should we have the dots? I can say yes, I want to have the dots. We can change the color of the, or obviously different things for the dots as well. So for example, the sizing of the dots, we can change that. The inset, how inset is going to be, we can change that. The gap, the fill, the padding and stuff along those lines. And then the radius as well, obviously we can change that too. One thing that we can also change is we can define whether the opacity is going to be different in both those cases. So for the active state or for the default state, should there be an opacity change? And if we just do that one, then every single thing is just going to be very similar. But for now, that's fine. And should there be a blur? So we can also define that as well. So those are just some of the things that we can do, and we can delete these dots as well because we don't need them right now. And then we are going to add some padding. So we're going to say there should be a padding from the bottom. So we can basically position the dots at the bottom a bit. I think that should be sufficient for now. So the only thing that we just have to test is whether all of these things are working properly. So obviously, since that's not working, this is working fine. Maybe we need some padding on the edges as well, I'm guessing. So the first thing we can do is we can also decide what the sizing is going to be like. So is the sizing going to be auto? Is it going to be column based? I can actually have it column based as well, where I can say that it's going to be displaying 3 columns. I can have some padding as well on the left and the right if we want to. So I can go ahead and give, let's say, a 24 pixel padding or a 32 pixel padding on the edges. There you go. One thing that I can see is problematic in the component itself is the text element itself. The text component itself is not scaling. So we're going to say this is going to, not fit content. It's going to be filling the container. So now it should be fine. As you can see, it should be fine here. So I think that's pretty much what we need for this section. We can also go ahead and add the same animation that we have here on that particular element as well. So we're just going to copy it and we can apply it both to this, and we're going to say paste effect, and we are going to apply the same thing here as well. We're going to say paste and then paste effect. Okay, so if we just have a look at it again, so we have something like this. So I think that looks good. Now, frequently asked questions, I think the heading in itself can just fade in similar to some of the other stuff, but what I want to do, or what I want to happen, at least in the cases of these 6 elements, I want them to appear one by one. So I'm going to say paste effect here, and then I'm going to select all of these elements that are inside. So in order to select them, I can press Command Option A, say I want to paste them, and I want to paste all the effects here. Once I've done that, I can go ahead and now add a delay. So I'm going to say that there should be a delay here. So we are going to add a delay, which is going to be 0. And let's just add like a minor delay. So 0.1 here. This is going to be 0.2. This one is going to be 0.3. This one will be 0.4. And this one can be 0.5. So let's just see how that particularly looks. So we have something like this. I think this looks pretty good. And then we just have a simple animation here. We're just going to say paste effect. So that's pretty straightforward, I guess. And then obviously something like this, and we can animate it very similarly, just using the same effect. I just like this effect. I don't think we necessarily need to do anything really complex. So what we're going to do is we're just going to add a scroll transform to this, scroll animation to this particular mobile device as well. And we're just going to say that it's going to appear when the download section, I've labeled this whole section to the download section, is in view, and when you basically are centered on that. So we may basically just want it to slide in from the right, maybe just something simple like that. So if we just have a look at this now, we have something like this. But as you can see, I actually want a delay. It's appearing a bit too fast. So we're just going to say that I want to add a delay here. I'm just going to go ahead and add a delay of like 0.5 seconds, and I'm going to increase that to 0.5 as well, the actual animation. So we have something like this, which I think looks good. And yeah, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to demonstrate here. And if you found this video useful, definitely let me know. Do subscribe to hit the bell icon. In the next video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding the responsive, or making this whole template responsive. So definitely stay in tuned for that.